Welcome back, everyone. It's Stray Faye here with another episode of Cupid Parasite. Continuing Shelby's route, we're on the third chapter, labeled Suspicions Grow. I guess maybe our little marriage lie might be getting found out. We have Mysterious Man A. We did figure out who this man was in the last route, although he didn't really get to do anything. I wonder if he's gonna be more important in, like, this route? 'Cause in Ryuki's route, like, Lynette's mom just, like, came down and was just, like, stop that, and he's like, okay, honey. But we got Mysterious Man still shrouded in mystery. I guess we'll just pretend we don't know who he is. MQ, your intel was right. He lives alone. That whole thing about being a devoted husband was a big fat lie. MQ. I'm glad you can confirm it, but what's this MQ thing? It's a code name, after all. You don't know if our conversation is being intercepted. Uh-huh. So what should I call you then? Let's see, you can call me 0007. Not that it means anything, but it sounds super cool, like a proper spy movie. Right. So, what about that other thing? Ah, that. I told the magazine lead editor that he was totally single, but no dice. He said that without proof, they're not interested. Change his name to 0007. But I'll get that proof and spread it across the whole world. Easier said than done, though. What's with these damn sea-cam people? Okay. They're the ones that have been snooping around. I mean, all we got was that it was a man with his face covered. It could have been anyone. It could have been just random paparazzi man. But no, it's him causing trouble. I mean, it is a security company after all. Looks like he's hired a few others as well. I guess I shouldn't expect it to be easy to expose the deepest, darkest secrets of the president of the Cupid Corporation. But I will expose that smug young upstart. What about you? Got any bright ideas? This is MQ fellow. As a matter of fact, I do have one. Just leave it to me. Alright, they're making moves. Well, Lynette's still doing dinner parties, though. A few days after the second dinner party, I was with Mr. Snail, who was driving us to work. Our morning schedules had somehow miraculously started to line up. You like change your schedule to match his? Being able to drive to work is so much more comfy than taking the subway. And I don't have to wait around, not have to sit next to weird people. I'd always taken the subway up until now, so this is totally a new feeling for me. Oh, there's a new cafe over there! And that restaurant sure looks tasty. Is it really that much fun to stare out the window of a car? Must have noticed the sparkle in my eye as I gazed outside. He let out a small giggle. It really is! I almost never get to ride in cars like this, so I'm having a blast. Oh, that cafe looks so nice! Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Anyway, how's your competition entry coming along? Actually I finished it. Today's the deadline, so I'm planning to submit it first thing in the morning. I see. I can't wait to see how it turned out. Thanks! The scenery continued to change gradually until we finally got to 7th Avenue and Cupid Corp headquarters. Mr. Snail suddenly spoke up as if something had just occurred to him. By the way, I talked to Owen about hiring another secretary. I think we found a good candidate. He'll be starting today. Oh, really? Indeed. Your advice really was invaluable. Actually, you might want to go say hello. The two of you have already met after all. Wait, who? Who this? Here's our newest secretary, Peter Flaggy. Flaggy? I don't know. It's you guy, the cameraman who can't camera. You can just call me Peter. It's nice to see you again. Peter is the new secretary? The guy who didn't know which end of the camera was up? Oh, don't worry about that. I almost never get it wrong anymore. They really worked me hard at the TV station. Peter looked extremely proud of himself as he held his hand out to me. I reluctantly shook it and just stared at him to make sure it really was the same Peter. I haven't seen him. Did we see him at all in Ryuki's route? He was in the main route. Well, anyway, he was the assistant director when he shot Parasite House. But he always talked during the broadcast, held the camera upside down, and all kinds of silly stuff. But he did make his way all the way up to assistant director, so he must know what he's doing. He also graduated from Harvard, just like me. I talked to an old classmate, and he said Peter was looking for a career change. Okay, well, guess he kind of needs one if he can't hold the camera up straight. Normally I'd ask Owen to show him around, but he's off today. Would you mind giving him a little tour of the office? I don't have any interviews or anything today, it's just a little paperwork to sort out. I'd already submitted my competition entry, so I really didn't have anything important to do. Sure, it would be my pleasure. I appreciate it. Then I'll let you take it from here. It's like we really are Shelby's secretary anyway. Upon hearing my answer, Mr. Snail sat down at his desk and got straight to work. Seeing that the president was already absorbed in his duties, Peter immediately turned to me. So as I understand it, my job is to lighten his load a bit and make things go smoother for him. That's right. You'll need to learn exactly how things work here at Cupid Corp. Well, I've got a photographic memory, so that shouldn't be a problem. He nodded confidently and walked off without prompting. I quickly followed after him. He had plenty of self-confidence, that much was clear. But... So this is the main office, yes? And that's the interview room, I assume? And this is that... what do you call it? The workshop suite, where you bring in instructors and things like that. Ah, this must be the wedding hall. Obviously this is my first time here, but it's not bad. Not bad at all. Peter really did seem to have the perfect grasp of the layout of the office without me having to tell him anything. Wow, did he go to our website and research everything ahead of time or something? Look at blueprints of the office that you're working in. Our interview room, wedding hall, and workshop suite were all listed on our website, so maybe he checked it out beforehand? He seemed like a pretty dedicated, earnest person at heart. I started to think that maybe my fears were unfounded. Meanwhile, Peter was back on the move. I felt like he didn't even need me there to guide him. He's like, who's giving who a tour? Well, that's pretty much everything. Do you have any questions? Nothing comes to mind. Although I am getting a bit thirsty. Oh, well, you can just go... The drink corner is that way, right? Okay, I'm off. I think that's the voice I gave him, right? I just kind of gave him, like, a bright, bubbly Mikado voice. He took off without even waiting for me to show him the way. That area was where we provided tea and coffee for our members. Wait, I don't think I told them about that area. How do you know about it? The drink corner was most definitely not listed on the website. Suspicious. Could he actually be a Cupid Corp member? But the members never went over there. Advisors would always bring them their drinks, so he shouldn't have known where it was. And yet he headed in that direction without hesitation. Now he's returning with 2 cups of coffee. Care for some coffee? Thank you. He looked proud as ever as he handed it to me. Then he quickly turned towards the nearby interview room. Why don't we take a seat in the interview room and rest for a bit? We don't usually just take breaks on a whim, and our interview rooms are reserved for members, and how did you know about... Bridal advisor A. You must be the new secretary I heard about. New secretary? What are you talking about? A couple of co-workers noticed Peter standing there and quickly crowded around him. Well, yeah. I am the new secretary, so yeah, guess that's me. I knew it! You used to work at Los York TV, right? You must be pretty amazing. So what the heck are you doing here? What? Los York TV? That's a huge corporation. Why on earth would you leave a place like that? To be honest, I'm just interested in this company. Well, we are the biggest company in our industry, but that's still a pretty big jump. So, Peter, are you single? If you like, I can... Wow, Peter's totally surrounded. Normally, the president secretary would never come down to this floor, so naturally, everyone's curious now. And even I had to admit, Peter was pretty cute. I remember him getting chased around during the Parasite House barbecue, too. Oh, right, wasn't he, like, scared of women? Wait. What? Peter, you graduated from Harvard University? That's one of the best schools in the country! Didn't Mr. Snail graduate from Harvard, too? Is that how you know him? Uh-oh, he's getting nervous. Oh, well, all this questioning from the two women was causing him to stutter. I decided it was about time for me to step in. Los York TV and Harvard University? I have no idea those places were considered so amazing. It was moments like these that made me realize just how much I still had to learn about the world. To me, Harvard was just some random college on 8th Avenue. Imagine like, I mean, that's kind of like a big insult to like someone who graduated from Harvard. Just like, wait, what's that? Some sort of community college? That's like one way to take someone down a peg, I guess, if they're like, I graduated from Harvard. And Los York TV was just a channel I watched with Claris sometimes. I knew it was a proper corporation and everything, but I didn't know people would get so excited about it. But if he did come from a good school and a big company, maybe he really could help lighten Mr. Snail's load. And if he was able to get a little more time for himself, maybe we could actually have a meal together once in a while. Like you're trying to get more time with your husband. He's not your husband. He's your pretend husband. He's falling too far into the lie. But he still never comes home on time. Now she's being all pouty. Mr. Snail was still just as much of a workaholic as ever. Still stayed late at work and never took days off. I stood there stewing about it with arms folded and cheeks puffed out. What reason was there for me even to be in this house? What happened to our mission of living a normal married life? All I ever did was play my part during our occasional dinner parties with his business clients. I mean, you're getting paid extra for it, so less work for you. I had no clue if me living here was helping throw off whoever was hunting for Mr. Snail's secrets. And he still refused to eat breakfast with me. Even with Peter there, his work hours stayed the same. He just drank his jelly drinks and slept as little as possible every day. Leave before I wake up, get home after I go to bed. The truth was, I'd never even seen him sleep for myself. He doesn't sleep. All he eats is vitamin supplements, protein shakes, and jelly drinks. I feel like that can't be good for him in the long run, just like barely coasting. Just like nutritional minimums. He's like not enjoying any food. like half the fun of eating. Just enjoying it. The other part is nutrition, yes, but you gotta take pleasure from what you can. He would insist that he did eat proper meals when he went out for business dinners and things like that, but... And he seems to think he could do even more work now that he had a second secretary. Of course, the company's performance was important, but I just wished he was willing to enjoy a little time off. He still goes swimming at the pool to keep fit, of course. I had the distinct impression that something was off with him. You don't say. Even on his rare days off, he'd still meet with clients. He completely refuses to play the devoted husband role. First chance I get, I need to explain to him that if he wants people to believe his lie, he needs to spend some time at home. That was all on my mind as I was preparing dinner. I was used to living here by now, so I knew my way around the kitchen. But if that's what I want from him, then I need to play the role of the perfect wife in return. Of course, I'd never been married or even fallen in love, so it was hard for me to say what a perfect partner looked like. You're matching people up. Maybe I should watch the movies about married life instead of the ones about dating that I usually do. Those are kind of hard to find. Even like in anime and shows. It's usually about the process of falling in love, and then like once they do, it's like, oh, show's over. I'm like, but wait, there's supposed to be more. There's more to relationships than that. I thought that might help me figure out how a husband and wife should actually act. I moved around the kitchen with that in mind. A few days later. That night was Peter's welcome party. Everyone on our floor was eager to drink with him, so they'd excitedly put it all together. Going to a little diner. Cheers! So tell us, Peter, what's it like being Mr. Snail's secretary? It must be really tough, right? He's so serious about everything. And how about Owen? Are the two of you getting along? Oh, he's still not nervous. Well... He's so popular. He's totally surrounded again. I was sitting at a table away from the action, nursing a drink and watching them from afar. Normally at these kinds of events, Clarice and I would be drinking together, but this time I was all alone. Clarice had already gone home, saying that she didn't feel very well. That's odd. So unlike her, Clarice usually loves social events like these. I happened to notice Owen standing in the middle of the group as well. He had the same serious look as ever and just nodded and gave simple answers to each question. It was pretty obvious that neither of them are particularly comfortable being surrounded by women. Two awkward men. The truth is, Owen and Peter were both considered two of the most eligible bachelors in the company. That's all the company rumor mill was talking about these days. So they're both pretty popular husband candidates, huh? Of course, if anyone knew Mr. Snail was single, he'd definitely be on that list too. He's got looks, social standings, and a healthy annual income. His one major flaw was that his need to constantly be working. He's like, I can't stop. I can't stop working. Although some members actually prefer guys like that. I'd rather couples enjoy each other's company, but people want what they want, and some girls didn't want their husbands home all the time. They get to play around more, I guess. He'd be in serious demand, but since he can't reveal where he works, he can't take advantage of it. Just that one secret is enough to throw a wrench in the whole works. If he could just show up to dates in person, I'm sure he'd have a much more success, but he absolutely refuses. Hello there, enjoying your drink. Owen had slipped away from the crowd and was now standing next to me. Oh, hello. Yeah, I suppose so. So how's work been for you? Have things gotten better having Peter around? Yes, very much. He's taken a huge load off my shoulders. I'm constantly surprised at how quickly he gets things done. I glanced back at Peter. He was still clearly in agony. I remember that he'd mentioned he really wasn't good with women at some point. So anyway, aren't you planning to go up to him as well? Huh? Well, I wasn't really sure what he was trying to say. He just smiled back at me. He's a bit odd, you know. He just started here, but he seems to know where to find every last thing in the office. Oh yeah. When I was showing him around on his first day, he seemed to know all kinds of stuff without me telling him. Is that right? How strange. The other day, I caught him just standing there, staring at the shredder. I went inside and I glanced at Peter. His gaze seemed to reveal a touch of suspicion. Without warning, he mumbled under his breath. I hope he's not some kind of industrial spy or something. He said it so quietly, it was like he'd forgotten I was there and was talking to himself. His ominous mumblings cast a shadow over my mind too. I'm home! After the welcome party was over, everyone wanted to head off somewhere for round 2. I politely declined and headed home. It's pretty late. I wonder if Mr. Snail is back yet. Oh. I opened the door to the bedroom and saw him laying there fast asleep. Oh my goodness, he's actually there. He sleeps. Ah, good. He's actually getting some rest. I never seen him sleep before, so it was nice to see that that was something he actually did. I wanted to take a bath, but I'll have to make sure I'm quiet so I don't wake him up. As I left the room, I'd figure I'd take my bath and then pass right out. But a little later... wait, what? You got a suit on? Oh, you're big. After getting out of the bath, I saw Mr. Snail standing there wearing a full suit. Do you ever relax? I'm sorry. Did I wake you? No, not at all. I already had an alarm set, so you don't need to worry. But it's 12:30 in the morning. Yes, I managed to get home early today and decided to take a nap. So now I'm headed back to the office. Looking at his watch, Mr. Snail turned and prepared to leave. Before he could, I grabbed his shoulders firmly from behind. Please wait. What is it? Even though it's just an act, we're supposed to be husband and wife right now, right? Well, I'm not sure I would put it that way. that way exactly, but when we have those dinner parties, it's meant to look like we're married, right? But what are you asking of? Yes, I suppose. And you've been very helpful in those instances. And we don't know when we might get exposed. We should spend as much time as we can to make it seem like you really have a wife. What do you mean? A truly devoted husband wouldn't run off to work in the middle of the night and completely ignore his wife like this. What are you suggesting at 12:30 a.m., Lynette? Mr. Snail frowned. It felt like he was trying to hold something back. The entire reason I've remained single till now is because I didn't want to have to do things like that. I understand. In that case, it would be best if we removed you from our company's membership. What are you talking about? You can't expect to ever get married with such a selfish way of thinking. I folded my arms across my chest and looked straight into his eyes. I knew how brazen I was being, but I felt it needed saying. If you really do want to get married, you need to show a little bit of effort. Compromise is a necessary part of marriage. Has a headache. Sir, you're officially still registered as a member, which means you do intend on getting married. Is that correct? Of course. And I've been searching every day for someone who can keep a secret and support a husband she knows she'll never get to see. But that woman just doesn't exist. And if she does, she's not interested in marriage. You're demanding a life without a husband. Yes. Yes, you're completely right. So, all you can do is find a wife who knows about your circumstances and is still willing to help. Do you know anyone like that? No. No, I do not. Right. Then your only option is to have me keep on pretending to be your wife instead. But one person alone can't do things that a husband and wife should do together. I can't keep up this act all by myself. Husband and wife. Remember that dinner party the other day? They said we didn't act like we've been married for 4 years. For that second dinner, Mr. Snail and I hadn't really talked for quite a while, so our conversation was really stilted. Member company president. Good heavens, your wife is quite reserved, isn't she? I think maybe you need to give her a little bit more attention, Shelby. His wife. I find their innocence charming. Even after 4 years, they act like shy newlyweds. Frankly, I'm a little jealous. I'm sure you're much closer when you're alone, right, Shelby? I mean, we're all familiar with that reputation of yours. At the time, I hid behind Mr. Snail pretending to be bashful. In fact, I was breaking out in a cold sweat. It was crucial that we start acting more like a close couple, specifically because of the reputation he made for himself. But knowing him, I'm sure it's difficult for him to close that gap. That was undoubtedly the source of all this awkwardness. I was sure I'd messed everything up that night. I was clearly treating you like my employer instead of my husband. If we want to play our roles properly, it would be best if we could make time to talk to each other. What do you think? You're right, of course. You're the one doing me this huge favor, and I've been completely selfish. I'm sorry. You don't need to apologize. I accept that this is part of my job. I was nervous about saying all that, but I'm glad I did. Part of your job. Yes, that much is certainly true. For some reason, he suddenly looked happy. I guess thinking about this whole thing as work might have changed his perspective on it. Alright then, let me think. How about we have breakfast together from now on? I'll even cook. Huh? You can cook? Why are you so surprised? Used to cook for myself every day back in college. There's nothing to worry about there. You wouldn't be surprised. I've never seen him do anything close to cooking. I couldn't even imagine it. But he'd been cooking since college. I figured it would probably be fine. A husband that can cook for his wife would definitely earn the title of devoted. I nodded at him, deciding it was best to go along with his plan. Great, then let's do that. We'll eat breakfast together every morning. My husband. You really don't have to call me that. That was the kind of exchange real newlyweds should have. I decided we should get through this awkward phase as fast as possible. But it's not like we can start going on dates or anything. If anyone saw us, it'd make it harder for him to find a real wife. This is a pretty tough challenge. Blech, words. Anyway, let's implement the breakfast plan starting tomorrow. I'll add it to my schedule. He checked his watch again, then took out his phone to update his to-do list. Breakfast as a job duty. I mean, a lot of couples do that. Like, if the bedroom life is starting to peter out, or like other stuff is starting to peter out, they add it to their schedule. Like, today we're doing this, or today we're having a date. Speaking of which, other than that one time at the pool, I'd never really seen Mr. Snail outside of a work environment. Also, our mission aside, why did you try and take some time off to relax? You did just hire another secretary after all. Didn't just have to be with me, of course. I just wanted him to spend some time on himself, but he just stared at me curiously. I do have more time thanks to my new secretary. But I need to use that time to keep growing the company. He missed the point of getting a secretary. He's like, great, now I can expand. But doesn't it ever occur to you to use your extra time to, rest and take it easy for a bit? What do I gain from resting? Taking it easy never created anything. No, it doesn't create anything, but don't you ever feel like watching a movie or going shopping or stuff like that? Stuff like that. He repeated what I said as if the entire concept was completely alien to him. He placed his hand on his chin and frowned. He turned his head from side to side. I can't really think of anything. If I had to pick something, I'd want to reach even greater heights to protect my status. He really loves his work. I mean, good on him for loving his job. He can think of nothing else but work. There he goes again with that obsession of his. The prestige parasite. I felt like I was witnessing the return of Monsieur Essay. I always wondered, why do you care so much about status and prestige and all of that? What an odd question. A man is nothing without his prestige. The way he said it was so matter of fact. Didn't know how to respond and missed my chance to say anything at all. This is probably like his underlying issue that we have to fix. Like, Ryuki was like obsession with beauty and looks, and now him is just like what people think of him, his prestige. As a god, the desire to boost one's status was completely foreign to me. I saw no value in it. I guess it was different for humans. It reminded me of Peter, who found himself surrounded by women just because he got into Harvard and worked at Los York TV. That convinced me that Mr. Snail's general outlook on that topic must have been right, at least partially. Now that I think about it, my promotion is my top priority right now too. My reason for that was so I can prove my dad wrong, and I was taking advantage of human social systems to do it. The other gods might not understand this concept of status, but I felt like I was starting to get it. But the way he talks about prestige still sounds off somehow. It might be important, but it couldn't be everything. The loving relationship between two people working together to realize the joy of the life of joy they want to live together. Ultimately, prestige and status couldn't be that important. I'd seen so many couples from Celestia. I knew that much. Even now, I'm hardly doing the bare minimum I need to in order to achieve that. I won't stop until I perfected it. I'm still not putting nearly enough effort, so I refuse to be satisfied. I'll never become a proper man this way. I don't know, he's having some sort of crisis here, uh-oh. What? You're not putting in enough effort? Do you seriously believe that? What about all these other people? You call this the minimum? What the heck am I doing? Of course, the company is still in its infancy. We might be at the top of the industry for now, but that's not enough. I have to utilize every possible business opportunity to become the undisputed best in Los York, and eventually the entire nation. Gonna take over the world, dude. Got a grand vision, that's for sure. If he wants to become a corporation big enough to enter the national stage, that will probably take even more work. But I definitely don't think his effort is lacking as an individual. I just want him to take better care of himself. I see. I think I understand how you feel. But when you reach the top, what then? Is there something specific he wants to do once he gets there? But when I asked him that question, he stared at me for a second, frowned, and then his gaze wavered. Once I reach the top, then I suppose I can finally call myself a real man. I mean, but then you never do reach the top though, because there's like always someone better. I think you're a real man already, and a wonderful one at that. Impossible. I'm not even close. After all, I haven't even found a partner, which means my status isn't enough to satisfy them yet. But it's your status that's driving them away. Lower your standards. No, I don't think that's it. The reason you haven't found a wife isn't because of some abstract idea of status. But what about 4 years ago, when everyone knew I was single? Still not one woman approached me. With a self-deprecating smile on his lips, he picked up his work bag. It was clear the conversation was over. Anyway, I'm off. Why don't we schedule breakfast for 7 a.m.? Okay, that should work for me. Excellent. With that curt reply, he was gone. The little marriage spat. In the end, he still chose work over everything else. I looked at the clock. Going to work at this hour was weird no matter how you looked at it. He really was the prestige parasite. I heard the phrase work-life balance a lot in human media, and it always made me think of Mr. Snail. If you're happy with your personal life, your work gets better. If you're happy with your work, your personal life gets even better. Your life and your job should act like two wheels working together. That outlook definitely makes sense to me. You can't just spin one wheel endlessly. You need to balance them out so they can travel farther and longer. The wheel metaphor was the first way I heard it, but it's also like flying. You can't take flight with just one wing. Of course, if this was really what made him happy, it wasn't my place to say anything. I couldn't deny that I like working too. But the idea that he needs to keep working harder is just his assumption. Meanwhile, he's letting his personal life rot away. The prestige parasite. I think this particular problem runs especially deep. I don't know what he was like when he was younger, but I find it hard to believe he's always been this way. I decided that I should try to get to the bottom of why he's so fixated on prestige and status next time I got the chance. For now, though, it was time for bed. It had been a long night of drinking and socializing, and I was completely beat. I sure wished Chi was here to give me one of those incredible massages. Chi had been disappearing at pretty random disappearing at random pretty often lately. He was pretty shy, so maybe he didn't like me living with Mr. Snail. I resolved to pay him some extra attention next time I saw him, then headed to my room to get some sleep. Oh, next chapter. Okay, this chapter is a little shorter. I guess I could keep going. Contract marriages and secret lessons. Yeah, I'll keep going. I try to aim for like 45 minutes to an hour, but it always overshoots. If I get like really tired, then I'll just take a forced break. Woo. Woo! You cooking? This is Shelby's perspective. The morning after our conversation, I was in the kitchen by myself making breakfast. How many years has it been since I eaten a proper breakfast? I cooked for myself all through college to save money, but since starting the company, I never really thought that much about food. I always had to be SS in everything, even when it came to cooking. It all had to be perfect. But why did I feel so nervous this morning? Is it because I never cooked for someone else before? It's weird to think that this is my first time cooking for someone that's my age. Just having someone else in my life makes me feel a little restless. I guess that's part of what people consider being married. I hate feeling like this, which is precisely why I avoided marriage or any personal relationships, but this has to succeed. This is all part of my job, so it's crucial that I do it perfectly. I vowed to cook a perfect meal and present a loving relationship with the woman pretending to be my wife. I considered it my duty. I absolutely can't allow any client at any future dinner party to get the impression that our relationship is awkward in any way. Even in that moment, I was completely focused on the woman who was still asleep in her bedroom. I wondered if she enjoyed my breakfast, or perhaps she'd laugh at the state of my culinary skills. In work and everything else in my life, I've been confident in the results. I've never been so unsure of an outcome before now. When it comes to food, everyone has their own opinion. There's no objective way to measure success, which made me incredibly nervous. I couldn't help but laugh at myself for being such a coward. It's ridiculous I still feel like I should get married. She was right to yell at me the way she did. Ultimately, I just wanted to get married to further my career. I really am treating it like getting a license. Which is exactly why there's no way it can go well. To be honest, the lifestyle I'm living right now is essentially my ideal situation. She only says what needs saying, and she plays her role perfectly at social events. I wish actual married life could be like this. Of course, I only feel comfortable because I know it's just a job for the both of us, and actual marriage wouldn't be so simple. If it really isn't possible for me to achieve this kind of married life, I'll have no choice but to announce it eventually. I know the company will suffer setbacks as a result, but it's the right choice in the long run. If I keep letting her be involved, eventually I'll become completely dependent on her, and her own life choices will be taken away. She's only been at the company for 2 years, and she has a bright future ahead of her. She may even fall in love herself someday. She says that will never happen, but that's just her youth talking. I can't force her to do this forever. Little do you know, she's actually older than you. And yet, I'm still taking advantage of her kindness because I know she's truly worried about the company and would do anything to protect it. Last night, she kept me from going to work in order to improve our relationship. She knew it would be hard, but she did it anyway. Even among friends, it's hard to say things like that. And I'm the company president. What other employee would be so brave? But she said exactly what needed saying. I don't know how to express how thankful I am to her. If I made an announcement without telling her, it would be a complete betrayal of her and all the work she's done. For now, all I can do is try and reward her efforts and grow the company even under the shadow of my lie. A big enough company could become immune to things like that, but no. Stock prices are always vulnerable to public opinion. That's one weakness of running a company. The greater its reputation becomes, the more things there are to worry about. Damn. If only I had avoided this misunderstanding in the beginning. Or at least gotten married when I should have. Not as if I had no dating experience. But things always seem to fizzle out before they can go anywhere. And it always ended the most cliche, why can I say cliche? Way possible. What's more important, me or your work? Why are people always so insincere? If I ignored work and lost my status, they wouldn't have given me a second look. Every woman I met using my matchmaking system said they wanted to be a president's wife. They'd approach me because of my status. So I thought I had to protect my prestige and aim even higher, which just resulted in more ruined relationships. You focus too much on one thing. I mean, some people want. I mean, maybe those women didn't understand what it meant to be a president's wife. Like, you gotta acting like a noble lady. You have to put up an act. Why can't you understand how I'm feeling? Or why can't we ever go out together? How many times have I heard those words? Every time I heard things like that, I couldn't help but think that they were only with me because of my status. I've always wondered, why do you care so much about status and prestige and all that? What I want to know is, why do you not seem to care about those things at all? I heard sounds coming from her bedroom and turned in that direction. She must have been up and getting ready for the day. The image of her getting dressed popped into my mind. Uh-oh. I pushed it away, but I could feel my cheeks getting warm. This wasn't like me. Oh no, you're seeing her as a woman instead of a coworker. Anyway, the most important thing is to play the role of happy couple perfectly. This breakfast is an important part of that. Now that she's awake, I should get started on the bacon and eggs. I pulled the eggs from the fridge earlier, then grabbed 2 of them. 2 eggs, 2 people. Something about it made me uneasy. Is this what it means to be married? Even if it's technically fake, I'm still living this supposed married life. I shook my head and tried to rid myself of these unfamiliar emotions, but the warmth in my cheeks still lingered. Alright, back to Lynette. Okay. Clear my throat. Good morning! I'd gotten dressed and headed towards the living room. A delicious odor hung in the air. Good morning. Breakfast is served. Even without his coat. Wow, you actually made it! Thank you so much. I wonder if he has like normal street clothes. Like, let me see you not in the suit. Well, I did promise, didn't I? Mr. Snail took off the apron he was wearing over his suit and brought me my breakfast from the kitchen. There was vegetable soup, bacon and eggs, toasted jam, fruit, and coffee. Wow. Well-balanced breakfast. Wow, it's a proper full breakfast, and it looks really delicious. Honestly, I had no idea I could cook like this. My SS status applies to everything. I put the maximum effort into every single class I took. Though even in cooking class, he aimed for SS status. That did sound like the president I know, and thanks to that, I was lucky enough to enjoy a delicious breakfast. Well, let's eat. I grabbed a spoon and started with the vegetable soup. It had a rich, healthy flavor. I couldn't hide my smile. It's really good. Is that so? I'm glad you like it. Mr. Snail's shoulders loosened and he seemed to relax a bit. I guess he was concerned about my reaction. This is a new sensation. He has an image of the perfect working man, so it was kind of cute that he cared so much about what I thought. After I'd taken a few more bites, he finally picked up his own fork to start eating. But where's the conversation? I know he always has a backlog of messages in the morning, but still. He was just eating while staring at his phone and tapping away to respond to his latest emails. Last time he couldn't look at his phone because there was a purpose to our conversation. With no clear goal this time, that didn't apply. It was nothing like being a married couple at all, more like two co-workers sitting near each other in the cafeteria. Alright, I guess let's say his name directly. Mr. Snail? Even as I said it, I caught myself. I suddenly realized this was probably part of the problem. Shelby? Just as I said his name, Mr. Snail seemed to choke. Why did you say that? I'm sorry, I just thought it might help us seem more like an actual couple sharing breakfast. Should I go back to Mr. Snail? No, you're right. He was still coughing as he looked at me with a touch of embarrassment. After a moment, he sighed. Please, just call me Shelby. It's probably best that we get used to doing that. Great! So then, Shelby, what are your plans for dinner tonight? I made a point of asking in a friendly way as possible. Tonight? Let's see. We haven't had dinner together in a while, so why don't I come home early so we can eat together? You just earned 100 devoted husband points. Well, it's only because you're the ideal wife. I have no choice but to try and keep up. He smiled at me as he continued to eat his breakfast. He said it so naturally, it made my heart skip a beat. Huh? The ideal wife? Made me really happy to hear him say that. It meant I was doing my job well. Although I'd be lying if I said that was the only reason. I'm just happy because I was able to impress such a perfectionist. Right? Oh no, she's getting the feelings. She's caught the feelings. She just doesn't know it yet. Yeah, that had to be it. Whatever it was, I tried to push the feeling aside as much as I munched on my breakfast. The toast was light and crunchy. The toaster must be really expensive because our toast is always so tasty. But the toast this morning seemed even more delicious than the toast I'd made for myself yesterday. Alright, they head into work. I guess they had to go through like all the screens as I'm traveling. After breakfast, I headed to the office as usual and made my way to my desk. I turned around and saw a group of people gathering near the wall. What's going on over there? There you are. I was wondering when you show up. Huh? What's going on? Clarice motioned me to come over, so I went to the stand by the others. Several female employees started glaring at me. Uh-oh. Oh my! I'm getting a sense of deja vu. Is this lady? How the heck did this get through? It was the same girl from the planning department. She stormed off and deliberately bumped into me on her way out. Someone call HR. With no clue what was going on, I made my way to the center of the crowd. When I got there, my hand went to my mouth in surprise. An announcement had been posted with the results of the competition. I was nervous, but slowly moved in closer. When I saw the names listed, I gasped. Among the finalists, I spotted my own name. Yay, you did it. Okay, I guess we rushed up to Shelby's office. So your plant made it through, eh? Interesting. I had to go to Mr. Snail's office on other business, but mentioned the results while I was there. He listened as he worked. I was sure my entry had been picked thanks to his advice, so I wanted to make sure and thank him. 5-star challenge, cooking with fire. Wow, that's one heck of a title. Mr. Snail looked over my project proposal sheet, along with the comments from the judges. They liked the example dish you chose too. Not that I'm surprised. Anyway, I'll review it again for my final decision. I wouldn't have made it this far without your feedback. You're a huge help on this, so I wanted to be the first one I wanted you to be the first one I told about it. Thank you so much. Not at all. It went through because of your efforts. You stayed up far too late to work on it, didn't you? Huh? You saw me? I was working on another project and saw you passed out on the couch. In fact, I carried you to your room. Don't you remember? Oh, now that he mentions it, I did wake up in my bed once without remembering how I got there. He's like, oh well. I assume I just sleepwalked into my room. It never would have occurred to me that he'd carry me. Sorry, I honestly had no idea. That must have been a big pain for you. Never mind that. I respect that kind of diligence, and because of that, the judges were all impressed. Well done. Thank you. This makes me so happy. I can't deny that it feels good to have someone recognize your work. That's something that only happens among humans. I guess that's part of why I like them so much. To be honest, my days down here have been so much more fulfilling than my time launching arrows down as Cupid. Back in Celestia, connecting humans was simply expected of me. But if things went south, I never heard the end of it. But it's different here. If I get good results, I get praised for it. That's exactly how it should be. I'll be sure to keep working hard and help usher even more people into marriage. Excellent. I'll be counting on you. Alright, I'm gonna do this. Since my plan went through, I've been exempted from some of my normal duties in order to focus on this project. I chose a pretty unusual dish for our initial event too, so I guess I better learn how to make it. I really put extra effort into the part of the competition that asks us to do something nobody's done before. If a couple can face and overcome adversity together, they'll grow closer. That's why I decided to make it pretty tough. draw in a crowd with a simple concept like cooking, then put them through a 5-star gauntlet to help them become closer. But first of all, I needed to figure out the location, since Cupid Corp doesn't have a kitchen on site. I chose a few candidates as soon as I started on the plan. Now I just need to go and negotiate with each of them. Jeez, girl, you're working hard! If this succeeds, it'll be a perfect chance for even more people to discover the joy of marriage. And if I can do that, my promotion will remain a very real possibility. I have to beat my dad. I'll prove to him just how amazing humans can be. But in order to do that, I need to give Cupid Corp even more exposure. It's pretty close to Mr. Snail's goal to bring the company to the national stage, which makes it easy for us to work together. Well then, if you'll excuse me. When my elevator arrived, I gave a small bow and got on. As the doors closed, Mr. Snail gave me a quick wave before getting back to work. Starting today, my focus will be on bringing this new project to fruition. What did that say in the back? Huetra la table? Step 1 was securing a location for the event. I started by making appointments to visit several public kitchens. You're making a show, a cooking show. Like the British Bake Off, except they date. They date at the end. Next up, I contacted a number of culinary experts to get a feel of how they would approach teaching a class like mine. Culinary researcher. What? You expect to make such a tricky dish with this many people in a mere public kitchen? Can't be done, just forget it. Jeez, you have little faith. First of all, you definitely need a brick oven, and the condiments and garnishes aren't exactly easy to get a hold of. Wait, let me write this down. And you call this a 5-star challenge? What a joke. If you want a real challenge, you need to add some snakes or hornets. Okay, now you're just being silly. Well, the main point is help with matchmaking, so I still want them to have a good cooking experience. Like, what kind of cooking are you doing here? I was running all over the place to make my plan a reality. I also made flyers to recruit volunteers and contacted designers to come up with some advertisements. There was so much to do. Ugh, I could really use some help on this. Some of my duties have been cleared, but I still had plenty of normal tasks I had to do, like preparing for daily meetings. I need to hand this off to General Affairs, and I have to get this ready to put in the mail. No, I'm Peter. Humph. So this just needs to get put in the mail, right? You can leave it to me. Peter appeared from out of nowhere and plucked it from my hand, so are you my secretary now? Peter, what are you doing here? I had some free time, so I decided to take a little stroll. Stroll? Anyway, how can I help? Besides mailing this, is there anything else I can do? Are you sure? Thank you. Then, could you deliver this document to accounting? Sure thing. Peter took the rest of my documents and then wandered off. I felt relief that someone was finally lending a hand, which was quickly replaced by the feeling of someone staring daggers at me. What the hell? Who does she think she is, taking advantage of the president's secretary like that? Gah, she really hates me, huh? I wish we could just work together on this, but I was sure that would just make her hate me even more. Ugh, work culture. It would really be best if all employees could get along. After all, we all want more people to get married, right? All this infighting would just lead to more and more members leaving us for our competitors. I mentioned that to Clarice the other day, and she pointed out that people aren't that simple. I've been down here for 6 years, but I guess I still haven't become totally human. I know. If only it could be that simple. Like, we guys are working on the same things. Like, nope. Living in human society can be so difficult. I got the feeling that even a full human lifetime wouldn't be enough to learn everything about what it meant to be a human. That's how complex the differences between one human and another were. But that's also exactly what I liked about them. Wait, no. I don't have time to be thinking about this right now. I'm going on a tangent. I had my next interview in just a few minutes. It was my job to do everything I could to help each member get married. After all, they're trusting us to help guide them through this great adventure called life. I'm home. I arrived to discover that for the first time, Mr. Snail had made it home first. Welcome home. Have you eaten dinner yet? I grabbed some food at the cafeteria. I'm so tired. I dropped my bag and flopped down on the couch. Mr. Snail had brewed some coffee, and now he offered me a cup. Or he brought me a cup. Care for some? Wow, thank you. I happen to be making some for myself anyway. You gonna stay up late again? Shelby, your coffee is always so delicious. That you really don't have to correct yourself. No, I do. We're married after all, right? I made a conscious effort to switch over to married mode and continued the conversation that way. Right. Lynette. He mumbled to himself as he took his cup of coffee and sat next to me. So, how's your plan going? There's a lot to do, so it's pretty exhausting, but I'm also having fun, and of course it's really fulfilling. That's good to hear. And Peter has been helping me out a lot too. Wait, did you tell him to do that? Well, I heard the planning department wasn't able to help too much, so I sent him to you in their place. Oh, were they supposed to help us? Are we getting scorned and put through the ringer because they're jelly? Could that girl from the planning department be? I had a bad feeling about it, but I kept quiet. I couldn't accuse someone without proof, especially to your boss. That could be dramatic. I see. Well, thank you very much. He's been really helpful. That's good to hear. He's quite the hard worker, isn't he? He's been a big help to me as well. That's true. He's like a completely different person compared to his time on Parasite House. It was pretty surprising. For example, he seems to know exactly where to find everything and what everyone is up to. It's kind of creepy, actually. It reminded me of how Owen had mumbled to himself about some industrial spy previously. But Peter really does seem like a really good person, so I don't want to suspect him. So, about my plan. Wait, what? Huh? For some reason, Mr. Snail put a finger to his lips with an angry look on his face. Then he glanced out the window. What's the matter? Come here. Huh? What? He stood up, grabbed my hand to get me to stand up with him. He pulled me under the stairs as if we were hiding from something. What's going on? There's someone in the yard. I saw a reflection of light, probably someone with a camera. What? Do you think it's the same person you were talking about before? I do. Someone's still snooping around. C-Cam should have been contacted as soon as someone entered the yard, but... That's strange. Maybe the sensor is broken. Or maybe they have some way of jamming the signal. I mean, what is the sensor? Is it like it's like there's something in the ground because they just like pulled it up? Is that possible? I guess my bow and arrow does the same thing to keep Lord Jupiter from finding me. The method was probably pretty different, but the end result was basically the same. I knew it. There's definitely someone out there. I can see them on the security camera. The video quality is awful, though. He must have had some kind of app for the cameras. He showed me a video feed on his phone, and there was definitely someone there. That's freaking scary! In the dark of night, someone in your yard. I can't zoom in any further, but whoever they are, that's certainly a camera they're holding. What are you gonna do? We can't let them get a clear shot of you, so you stay here. I'll head to the living room on my own. Huh? Why are you going out there? If I stay hidden here, they might get away. I'll call CCAM right now, then try to keep whoever it is busy. This might be our chance to catch them. But if they realize he's calling CCAM, they might run away. Him going out there alone might give them whatever proof they're looking for, if he really wants to distract them. Wouldn't it be better to give them proof that we really are living together as a married couple? Huh? Aren't you more scared, girl? A few minutes later, after contacting CCAM secretly, Mr. Snail and I stood face to face in the bedroom with the curtains closed. So, what do we do now? We'll use that light to cast a shadow, like this. I put my hand on his shoulder and then craned my neck towards his face. Wait, what are we doing? What, are we doing like silhouettes here, like through the curtain? Like that kind of thing? Uh-oh. Shelby's like, what? His shoulders twitched and he pulled back when we were just a couple inches apart. Look at the silhouette on the curtains, Mr. Snail. The silhouette. He was still tense as he looked up to the side. When he saw what was there, he sighed and relaxed. Oh, the silhouette. I see what you mean now. On the curtain, the silhouette looked like we were kissing, thanks to illusion of depth perception. I saw something similar in a Christmas movie, where there was a little boy. Well, a little boy used to chase away some burglars. Is that Home Alone? I love Home Alone. It looks real, doesn't it? It certainly does. In which case, maybe just a bit more. Mr. Snail had his arms around my waist and tried to change the angle to look more convincing. Uh-oh. It's gonna turn real. You guys are like fake smooching. Careful how close you get. How about this? Haha, that's perfect. Now it totally looks like we're kissing. Just then we heard the sound of a photo being snapped in the backyard. Looks like that plan was working. Haha, you definitely look like a devoted husband now. Lynette! I guess so. You always seem to have another clever plan at the ready. This is really weird to do, especially with your boss. Mr. Snail laughed innocently and loudly. I don't think I've ever seen him react this way. I've always wanted to try it, ever since I saw it in a movie. Next up, let's use this. Okay. Listen, I grabbed a banana from the fruit plate nearby, but he stopped me before I could do anything else. He's like, whoa there. Stop that. Anything but that. Huh? But I didn't do anything yet. That's not the kind of silhouette I want to show off. But it was really funny in the movie. I always wanted to try it out. Was she gonna eat the banana? No, don't. Do you even know what you're doing? Aw, then how about something like this? I put down the banana and took Mr. Snail's hand. I led him to the bed and got him to lie down. I took off my shoes next to Mr. Snail and sat down next to him. Now it's complete. Nah, what's this position supposed to show? I'm pretending to be a wife making moves on her husband. I bent down to place my hands on the bed from the side. The silhouette looked like I was on top of Mr. Snail. Oh my god, that's scandalous. Now this is quite the image. Anyone who sees this is sure to get the wrong idea. Even they might get the wrong idea. Right, to the outside world, you're a workaholic, but at home, you're a dedicated partner. I see. But I don't really like being on the receiving end of this. Let's switch places. Oh, he's at top. Mr. Snail smiled playfully and pointed to the bed. He clearly wanted me to lay down. As directed, he switched positions, and Mr. Snail got into a position as if you're doing a push-up. How's this? Does it look like I'm the one making moves now? He kept his push-up stance and looked at the curtain. The silhouette definitely looked like we were laying down in bed kissing. Haha, that's perfect! Great. Since he was in that position, apparently he couldn't help himself. He actually did a push-up. Oh my. Sir, don't do that! Imagine what the silhouette looks like! Oh, whoops, I'm sorry, force of habit. Doing push-ups in bed. Mr. Snail quickly froze. We looked towards each other and adjusted our positioning again. We waved our hands to look like we were hugging. I tried to move my legs up and down a bit. Wow, the silhouette thing is amazing! Playing around. We totally look like a husband and wife making love in bed. I forgot to look at Mr. Snail as I focused on the silhouette and the curtain. I started to try out more poses. I felt like the director of a movie. I did read a book once about how there are special ways to film things like this. I think we're movie directors now. We're really putting on a show. I raised my head up slightly to make it look like I was kissing him, but then Mr. Snail froze up. Movie directors... I guess that's true, but... I wonder how long this movie will go on for. He mumbled that to himself as he got up from the bed. As he brought the silhouette to a sudden halt, I snapped out of my daydream. He was staring out the window. I heard the intruder moving cautiously outside, probably reacting to Mr. Snail's movements. I quickly came to my senses, like, what, it's probably, like, fun's over, like, what the heck are we doing? They're gonna get away! That's what you're concerned about? I ran to Mr. Snail, took his hand, and embraced him tightly. I hoped that would entice our peeping Tom. What thought are you? The sea camp people aren't here yet. They might get away. Don't you want to catch them? But why are you actually hugging me? Mr. Snail put his hands on my shoulders to push me away. He removed his vest, looked out into the yard, and sighed. You don't need to take this so seriously. I do want to catch them, but... In the next moment, Mr. Snail gasped. Then he grabbed my shoulders and forcibly changed the way we were facing. Ow. Ow my. He pushed me against the glass window and towered above me. The shadow he cast over me caused me to open my eyes wide. Oh, well, at least they won't see your face. They'll just see your pink hair again. Is he getting back into the silhouette show? That's what I initially thought, but his expression was too serious for that. I cautiously looked up at him. Is something the matter? I like how she's fully dressed, but he's like kind of getting undressed. Like, I saw someone with a camera behind the curtain. I can't let them photograph your face. That's when I realized that there was a gap in the curtain behind us. I could feel the cool sensation of the glass behind me. So he changed directions to keep them from seeing my face from the yard. Thank you. I guess I was being kind of careless. No, I let my guard down too. But this position is perfect. I might be able to see the culprit's face from here. Sir? If you stare too long, they might notice. True, but... Damn, the yard is too dark. Can't see them from here. Let's just let Seacam handle that. For now, we should focus on buying more time. He took me by the arm and pulled me into a position where I wasn't visible from the yard. We were still in the middle of our movie, and we need to act like a real married couple. Don't you agree, Shelby? I resumed the part of a loving wife, and Mr. Snail smiled in a slightly sad way. Lynette. How exactly does this movie end? Huh? when the camera crew in the yard goes home, I guess. That's not what I meant. How long must we pretend to be husband and wife? Until nobody questions it anymore. That's what he agreed on when we started our stage life together, after all. He did have a point, though. How long could we be expected to keep this up? The business meals with clients will likely keep going for a while. I don't mind doing it for as long as it's necessary. And what exactly do you mean by that? A shadow fell over me. He's even closer than before. I can hear the curtains rubbing against each other. Oh. And when is he gonna realize the position that they're in? Lynette, you said that you've never fallen in love and don't ever intend to. Yes, I did say that. But I'm not sure you've really thought about that. You very well might fall in love someday. In fact, it seemed inevitable. I very seriously doubt that. Because I'm Cupid. I was about to say that, but I stopped myself. The creases in his forehead deepened. You're still young, so you may not really understand, but there's no such thing as absolutes. The unexpected always happens. His face was nearly touching mine. I stared into his eyes, up close, so... I never really noticed them before. They're an icy cold blue, with a hint of gray. I was struck by their beauty. They're like snow falling on a frozen land that I'd seen from Celestia. I held my gaze and Mr. Snail spoke. Why are you so passionate about your work as an advisor? Huh? Is it money? Prestige? What's your goal? What's most important to you? What keeps you going? Please, tell me. Was this a job interview? He fires questions at me like a police interrogation. I started breaking out in a cold sweat. Can't it just be because it's worth doing? Is that really all there is to it? Can that really be enough for any human? Maybe not for a human, but it's enough for Cupid. I could tell he doubted me. His eyes told me he didn't believe someone like that could possibly exist. I'm Cupid, so it's basically my instinct to do this. But if I say that, you'll think I'm teasing him and get annoyed. Even if I told him I wanted to prove to my stubborn dad that humans can connect on all on their own, he wouldn't believe me. I've seen many employees come and go. Not one of them could maintain motivation like yours for so long. You said you wanted to be promoted, but you also said you're not interested in prestige. How can that be? It's like his whole life is crashing down. I was like, what? Someone else does not want the things I want? Why was he staring at me with such concern? Were my eyes deceiving me somehow? I want to know what you want. What do you think of your current life? My current life? What do you mean? To be honest, this life right now is my ideal. But I can't shake off my guilt for taking advantage of you, so I want to know. It's necessary for the employer to know the will of the employee. He said that with an undeniably serious tone, and I stared straight into my eyes. First button up your shirt, and then you can talk as a boss here. He wasn't touching me or anything like that. We should have been focused on the silhouette show, but I was so confused. I didn't expect a sudden interview like this, and I definitely didn't expect him to say this life was his ideal. I heard more camera sounds coming from the yard. We were being photographed again, or at least our silhouettes were. I was frozen. I couldn't move a muscle. But somehow we had to act out our loving couple show. Just in that moment, Mr. Snail's phone rang. He jerked away from me and pulled the phone from his pocket. The screen said C-Cam. This is Snail. Oh, you got your vest back on. Hello, sir. As you requested, we surrounded your home to cut off all exits. But They still got away. Wait, how? He just took a picture. Huh? I just heard the camera shutter. How could they escape that fast? But I looked out into the yard and didn't see anyone there. How could that be? I was confused by the fact that they just vanished. Just straight out of a movie. Like some kind of ninja or super spy. What do you mean they got away? Well, the truth is, they just leapt straight up over our heads. By the time we realized what was happening, they were long gone. No, maybe it is someone maybe it isn't a person. But obviously they have some sort of supernatural powers. Wow, they really are like a ninja. As I said that, Mr. Snail sighed deeply. Fine, but did you at least get a good look at them? Submit a report on any distinguishing features, height, hair color, etc. Of course, sir. And search for footprints. And be on the lookout for any other suspicious people in the area. Understood, we'll get right on it. Ugh, what the heck just happened? They jumped over their heads. What kind of world-class athlete are we dealing with? We looked at each other with an obvious question mark on both of our faces. We really did hear those camera noises before, didn't we? Yes, I'm sure of it. Does someone that athletic really exist? Probably not a typical paparazzi, that's for sure. We stood next to each other, looking out into the yard, each of us lost in our own thoughts. I know, if you could jump like that, you probably wouldn't be a paparazzi. You'd be something else. Star athlete. Without warning, our shoulders accidentally touched and we both leapt back. Now you guys are aware of each other. Mr. Snail backed away little by little. His face was bright red, which caused me to blush as well. Huh? Why am I... Earlier I hugged him as part of our show, but now my heart was beating out of my chest. I think we can consider this a job well done for today. We definitely showed off how close we are. Right. And if I ask you to do any more, I'll have to consider overtime. So feel free to relax for the rest of the day. Sure. Of course. Good night then. I gave him a quick salute and practically ran out of the room. It wasn't until I got into bed that I remembered we hadn't actually finished our conversation. Oh, this is Shelby's perspective. Since I was alone, I was free to sigh as long as and as much as I wanted. What am I doing? Looking at things now, everything was missing its mark. I didn't get to talk to her, and the intruder managed to escape. I hadn't felt this agitated in a long time. Dealing with so many emotions was positively exhausting. And then you got all hot and bothered. But it was all for the sake of the company. As long as I considered it part of my job, I could handle it. I sighed again and sat on my bed, then lowered myself down. I really should go to sleep. I knew I needed to rest my mind, and that would certainly improve my efficiency. And yet... You can't stop thinking about what they just did! I tossed and turned. I just couldn't get comfortable. A faintly sweet smell lingered on my bed. Oh no. It must have been her scent. She was just here after all. The delicate scent of a woman is distinct from that of a man. No, it can't be. She was only on my bed for a moment. How could it have captured her scent so quickly? Even if it was brief, the fact she'd been on my bed, thinking about how defenseless she'd look, made me restless all over again. A woman was living in my house, or home. I hadn't thought much about it before now, but that fact suddenly weighed heavily on me. She was always so diligent at work that I hadn't really noticed anything feminine about her before today. But now it was different. She was undeniably a woman. I thought I understood that before, but... Calm down. She's a subordinate. A subordinate from work. This is a business relationship. I remember the silhouettes we cast on the curtains. She was focused only on that, but that wasn't the case for me. To my eyes, those shadows were positively lewd. I honestly wanted to stop it, but it was so awkward. That's why I jumped from the bed. Ever since the rumor of me being as a devoted husband was born, I avoided things of that nature. I'm already 32 after all. But no, that's much too young to pretend I'm beyond feelings of desire. Oh, has he not done it in a while? Ugh. Put my hand on my forehead and stared up at the ceiling. I had to sleep, or it would start to affect my work. But how am I supposed to sleep in this cloud of her scent? Oh no, he's gonna start getting hot and bothered! Is it the end of the chapter? Okay. Alright. Almost an hour 30. Food is the spice of love. I guess we're doing the cooking thing. I totally forgot about the cooking thing that Lynette's working on. Worried about Silhouette Show now. Wonder what she was gonna do with the banana. I kind of wonder what she was gonna do with the banana. I'd probably eat, but I'm just like, oh man, that would have been awful. That would have been so embarrassing. But for her, it's probably just like whoosh, big whoosh. She's like, I saw it in a movie. Be fine. All right, let's save. Take a little break. My throat's getting a little dry. You probably noticed me coughing a little bit more, or my voice kind of cracking a bit more. Okay. Well, I hope you guys are having a fun and relaxing time with this route. This game is fun. Like, it's colorful. It's fun. I'm like smiling the whole time. Like I'm reading this, so I really like this. I'm kind of wondering how it's gonna go. I mean, I can kind of predict, like, okay, like, the business relationship is gonna become a real relationship. But yeah, like all the cliches happening and everything's just so silly. Alright, anyway, let's take a little break, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye!